fifth graders, Mrs. G here. We are reading chapter 4, My Brother the Bird. And again, we have a guest reader. I am going to turn it over to Maya.
Move her picture.
Okay. Hi guys, it's Maya. Okay, so My Brother the Bird. We live near Central Park. On nice days, I like to play there after school. I'm allowed to walk over by myself as long as I'm going to be with friends. My mother doesn't want me hanging around the park alone. For one thing, Jimmy Fargo has been mugged 3 times, twice for his bicycle and once for his money. Only he didn't have any to give the muggers. I've never been mugged, but sooner or later I probably will be. Ooh, where does he live? My father's told me what to do. Give the muggers whatever they want and try not to get hit on the head. Yes, my parents say that too. Sometimes after you're mugged, you get to go to police headquarters. Oops. Sorry. You look at a bunch of pictures of crooks to see if you can recognize the guys that mugged you. I think it would be neat to look at all those pictures. It's not that I want to get mugged, because that could be really scary. It's just that Jimmy Fargo's always talking about his visit to police headquarters. My father got mugged once in a subway by 2 girls and a guy. They took his wallet and his briefcase. He still travels around by subway, but my mom doesn't. She sticks to buses and taxis. Both my mother and my father are always warning me never to talk to strangers in the park, because a lot of dope pushers hang around there. But taking dope is even dumber than smoking, so nobody's going to hug me. We live on the west side of the park. If I want to go to the zoo and the pony carts, I have to walk all the way through to the east side. Sometimes my mother walks across the park with Fudge. Fudge? What kind of name is that? He likes the animals a lot, especially the monkeys. He also likes the helium-filled balloons, but as soon as my mother buys him one, he lets it go. I think he likes to see it float up in the sky. My mother says it's a waste of money and she's not going to buy him any more balloons until he promises not to let go. He must be pretty young then, Fudge. On Sundays, the park is closed to traffic and you can ride your bicycle all over without worrying about being run down by some crazy driver. Even Fudge can ride. He has a little blue toddler bike, a present from my father's client. And when he's riding, he makes motorcycle noises. Vroom, 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 he yells. In the fall, the leaves turn darker and drop off the trees. Sometimes there are big leaf piles in the ground. It's fun to jump around in them. I never saw bright red, yellow, and orange leaves until the day my father took us for a drive in the country. The reason the leaves don't turn bright colors in New York is the air pollution, and that's too bad, because yellow and orange and red leaves look really neat. We are so lucky. We get those leaves in the fall and stuff, and we can make those fun piles. One nice sunny afternoon, I called for Jimmy Fargo, and we went to the park. Jimmy is the only kid on my block who's in my class at school, unless you count Sheila. And I don't. Sheila's in my building on the 10th floor. Henry, the elevator operator, is always making jokes about me and Sheila. He thinks we like each other. The truth is, I can't stand her. She's a real know-it-all. And I've discovered that most girls are. I am kind of a know-it-all, so I guess I'll give the narrator that. The worst thing about Sheila is the way she's always trying to touch me. And when she does, she yells, "Peter's got the cooties! Peter's got the cooties!" I don't believe in cooties anymore. When I was in 2nd grade, I used to examine myself to see if I had them. But I never found any. By 4th grade, most kids give up on cooties. But not Sheila. She's still going strong. So I have to keep a safe distance from her. I wonder what they think cooties even looks like. Like, I thought that was just like an imaginary, like, disease-looking thing, but I don't know. My mother thinks Sheila is the greatest. She's so smart, my mother says, and someday she's going to be a real beauty. Now that's the funniest, because Sheila looks a lot like the monkeys that Fudge is so crazy about. So maybe she'll look beautiful to some apes, but never to me. I feel like if I can foreshadow or make an inference, because he's talking a lot about Sheila, I feel like he might grow to like her in this story. Anyway, me and Jimmy have this special group of rocks where we like to play when we're in the park. We play secret agents up there. Jimmy can imitate all kinds of foreign accents, probably because his father's a part-time actor. When he's not acting, he teaches a class at City College. Today, when we got to our rocks, who should be Today, when we got to our rocks, who should be perched up there, but Sheila. She was pretending to read a book, but I think she was just waiting for me and Jimmy to find out what we'd do when we found her on our own personal rocks. Hey, Sheila, I said, those are our rocks? Says who? She asked. Come on, Sheila, Jimmy said, climbing up. You know, me and Peter hang out here. Too bad for you, Sheila said. Oh, Sheila, I shouted, go and find yourself another rock. Oops. Okay. I like this one, she said, as if she owned the park. So why don't you two go find another rock? Just then, who should come tearing down the path but Fudge? My mother was right behind him, hollering, Fudgy, wait for Mommy. But when Fudge gets going, he doesn't wait for anybody. He was after some pigeons. Birdie, here, Birdie, he called. That brother of mine loves birds, but he can't get it through his head that the birds aren't about to let him catch them. Hi, Mom, I said. My mother stopped running. Peter, am I glad to see you? I can't keep up with Fudge. Mrs. Hatcher, Sheila called, scrambling down from our rock. I'll watch Fudge for you. I'll take very good care of him. Can I, Mrs. Hatcher? Oh, please. Sheila jumped up and down and begged some more. Jimmy gave me an elbow in the ribs. He thought that my mother would let Sheila watch Fudge, and then we'd be rid of her. We'd be free to play secret agent. But Jimmy didn't know that my mother would never trust Sheila with our dear little boy. Fudge, in the meantime, was screaming, Come back, birdies, come back to Fudgy! Then my mother did a strange thing. She checked her watch and said, You know, I do have to run back to the apartment. I forgot to turn on the oven. Do you really think you'd keep an eye on Fudge for just 10 minutes? Of course I can, Mrs. Hatcher, Sheila said. I know all about babysitting from my sister. Sheila's sister is Libby. Sheila's sister Libby is in 7th grade. She's about as beautiful as Sheila. The only difference is she's bigger. My mother hesitated. I don't know, she said. I've never left Fudge before. She looked at me. Peter, what? Will you and Jimmy help Sheila watch Fudge while I run home for a minute? Oh, Mom, do we have to? Please, Peter, I'll be right back. I'll feel better if all 3 of you are watching him. What do you say? I asked Jimmy. Sure, he answered. Why not? But I'm in charge of Fudgy, aren't I? Sheila asked my mother. Well, I guess so, my mother said to Sheila. You probably do know more about babysitting. Why don't you all take Fudge over to the playground? Then I'll know where to find you. Swell, Mrs. Hatcher. Sheila said, Don't you worry, Fudgy will be just fine. My mother turned to Fudge. Now you be a good boy for 10 minutes. Mommy will be right back, okay? Good boy, Fudge said. Good. As soon as my mother was gone, Fudge took off. Can't catch me, he hollered. Can't catch me, Fudgy. Can't catch Fudgy, I meant. Go get him, Sheila, I said. You're in charge, remember? The narrator's giving her some sass. Anyway, me and Jimmy horsed around while Sheila ran after Fudge. When she caught him, we decided we'd better go to the playground like my mother said. It was a lot easier to keep an eye on him in a smaller place. Anyway, Fudge is not Fudgy. Anyway, Fudge likes to climb on the jungle gym, and that way he can't get lost. As soon as we got to the playground, Sheila started chasing me. Peter's got the cooties, she yelled. Cut that out, I said. So she chased Jimmy. Jimmy's got the cooties. Me and Jimmy decided to fight back. So what if she's a girl? She started it. We grabbed her by the arm. She squirmed and tried to get away from us, but we wouldn't let go. We hollered really loud, Sheila's got the cooties. All 3 of us were so busy fooling around that we didn't even notice Fudge up on the jungle gym until he called, Peter! Peter! That's how he says my name. What? I asked. See? Fudge flapped his arms around. Fudgy's a birdie! Fudgy's a birdie! Fly, birdie, fly! That crazy kid, I thought, running to the jungle gym with Jimmy and Sheila right behind me. But it was too late. Fudge already found out he didn't have wings. He fell to the ground. He was screaming and crying, and his face was a mess of blood. I couldn't even tell where the blood was coming from at first. Then Jimmy handed me his handkerchief. I didn't know how clean it was, but it was better than nothing. I mopped some blood off Fudge's face. Sheila cried, "It wasn't my fault. Honest, it wasn't." "Oh, shut up," I told her. He's really a mess," Jimmy said, inspecting Fudge, "and his teeth are gone too." Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm struggling. Okay. What are you talking about? I asked Jimmy. "Look at his mouth," Jimmy said. "Now, while he's screaming, see, he's got a big space where he used to have his front teeth." "Oh no," Sheila screamed. "He's right. Fudge's teeth are gone." Fudge stopped crying for a minute. "All gone?" he asked. "Open your mouth wide," I said. He did, and I looked in. It was true. His top two front teeth were missing. "My mother's going to kill you, Sheila," I said. Was I glad I wasn't left in charge of my brother? Sheila cried louder. "But it was an accident. He did it himself. "You better find his teeth," I said. "Where should I look?" Sheila asked. "On the ground, stupid." Sheila crawled around looking for Fudge's teeth while I tried to clean him up some more. "See," Fudge said, showing me all his wounds. "Boo-boo here and here. More boo-boo here." His knees and elbows were all scraped up. "I'm going to get your mother," Jimmy hollered, running out of the playground. Good idea, I called. "I just can't find them," Sheila said. "Well, keep looking," I yelled. "Honestly, Peter, there aren't any teeth here." "All gone?" Fudge asked again. "Not all," I told him, "just two." Fudge started to scream, "Want my teeth! Want my teeth!" Jimmy must have met my mother on her way back to the park because it only took about 2 minutes for her to get there. By that time, a whole crowd of kids had gathered around us. Most of them were crawling on the ground like Sheila, looking for Fudge's teeth. My mother picked up Fudge. "Oh, my baby, my precious, my little love." She kissed him all over. "Show Mommy where it hurts." Fudge showed her all his boo-boos. Then he said, "All gone." "What's all gone?" my mother asked. "His top two front teeth," I said. Uh-oh. Jimmy's gonna be in trouble. "Oh, no," my mother cried. "Oh, my poor little angel." Sheila sniffled and said, "I just can't find them, Mrs. Hatcher. I've looked everywhere, but Fudge's teeth are gone." "He must have swallowed them," my mother said, looking into Fudge's mouth. "Oh, Mrs. Hatcher, how awful. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry," Sheila cried. "What will happen to him?" "He'll be all right, Sheila," my mother said. "I'm sure it was an accident. Nobody's blaming you." Sheila started bawling again. My mother said, "Let's go home now." I thought my mother was pretty easy on Sheila. After all, she was left in charge. When we got home, Mom washed Fudge's cuts and scrapes with peroxide. Then she called Dr. Cohn. He told her to take Fudge to our dentist, so my mother called Dr. Brown's office and made an appointment for the next day. When that was done, she gave Fudge some socks to play with. I went into the kitchen to have a glass of juice. My mother followed me. "Peter Warren Hatcher," she said. "I'm sorry that I can't trust you for just 10 minutes." "Me?" I asked. "Trust me? What's this got to do with me?" My mother raised her voice. "I left your brother with you for 10 minutes, and just look at what happened. I'm disgusted with you." "It was Sheila's fault," I said. You said Sheila was in charge, so how come you're mad at me and not Sheila?" "I just am," my mother shouted. I ran to my room and slammed the door. I watched Dribble walk around on his favorite rock. My mother's the meanest mother in the whole world. She doesn't even love me anymore. She doesn't even like me. Maybe I'm not a real son. Maybe somebody left me in a basket on a doorstep. My real mother's probably a beautiful princess. I'll bet she'd like to have me back. Nobody needs me around here, that's for sure. Wow, his mom yells at him for like one time and he's already about to full on think she doesn't love him at all. I didn't eat much supper that night, and I had a lot of trouble falling asleep. The next morning, my mother came into my room and sat down on my bed. I didn't look at her. Peter, she said. I didn't answer. Peter. I said some things yesterday that I didn't really mean. I looked at her. Honest? I asked. Yes. You see, I was very upset over Fudge's accident and I had to blame somebody, so I picked you. Yes, I said. You sure did. It wasn't your fault, though. I know that. It was an accident. It could have happened even if I had been in the playground myself. He wanted to fly, I said. He thought he was a bird. I don't think he'll try to fly again, my mother said. Me neither, I told her. Then we both laughed, and I knew she was my real mother after all. Yes, he was just being dramatic. Stop sharing.